What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. Amazon Kindle Create Space. Link will always be in the description box below. Black Love and Whiteface. Or White Love and Blackface, for y'all don't understand it. So what I'm saying is we talk about relationships, sometimes black love. And the question is the paradigm of black love, or is it a culture vulture type of love that we are emulating what we see white love to be through the media, TV, and propaganda. I'm not a TV watcher anymore, but and I haven't been a TV watcher in a long time. But the idea that young girls want to be princesses from a lot of the Disney and cartoons and books where we're all the white people, and I think it's and then you fast forward and they promote white functional relationships and black dysfunctional relationships. And people actually buy into that. I don't know why, but it is what it is, right? And it creates our paradigm for love. Like, we supposed to have the American dream, the big house, the picket fence, the dog, the two kids, the boy and the girl, right? And that's the American mainstream, which is white picture of love. It's a big home, but that your big home doesn't make it a happy home. And your happy home comes from your culture. And since we're not being true to our culture at times, our relationships are untrue. Because when I think about other groups of people, white love is white love because it's based on white culture. We may not necessarily like all these cultures. We don't have to. That's their cultures, right? But because it's the what we call the dominant society or the dominant perspective, mainstream perspective, it infiltrates our lives. So, but the thing about other groups, including white people, is everything is they get along. All these other groups get along better because they never gave up their culture for the most part. And what I mean by that is, you know, Hispanic standards, white people have their standards of beauty and standards of love. That's built into their culture. Um, Hispanic people have their own standards of beauty and standards of love that's built into their culture. Asians have the same. You know, Muslims, Arabs have the same. They have the way that they dress, the way that they eat, their music, all of their culture stays in their framework. So one of the things about it is, at the end of the day, because our black culture is so much in a culture vulture sense that a lot of our stuff gets stolen and gets placed in the mainstream America, and we saying it's culture vulture when it is and it's stolen. But sometimes when it's repackaged to us in a dysfunctional way, we buy into the new model, same way people did with religion. You get what I'm saying? Uh, on top of that, you got to take into consideration the the ideology of this is somebody else's reality, not ours. You know, we're trying to fall in love with other people's ideologies and stories, and they don't fit us. Us as black men, we don't want to be white men, so we're not going to operate like white men. And black women, you know, sometimes we see y'all as wanting to be like white women, so sometimes it comes across that y'all operate like white women. And and I guess y'all would say the same thing about us, vice versa. So there isn't so our black love at some point in time is just black love in whiteface, or it's like I said before, white love in blackface. And until we take off the mask and accept who we are as a people, and what I mean by accept who we are as our cultures, the positive part of our cultures, not all the negative imagery. You know, like ladies, some of y'all don't realize the feminine white woman is really the old black woman. See, black women used to be the feminine women who were on a pedestal, who were high up, who were not easily touched. You know, they weren't the sluts of society. Black women weren't the sluts of society. They were the highly moral, um, feminine creatures. White women were the sluts of society that did everything and was down to do everything. You know, and those roles flip because now it looks like white women are feminine and black women are ratchet. When that wasn't the case. So you got to remember, you raised a lot of their kids. You taught them how to have a family. You taught them what black love was by the way you treated your husbands and the way you took care of your kids, and you brought your family structure into their homes, and they culture vultured a black family structure because people forget. Even up to the civil rights movement before, most black families were married. And yes, everything wasn't perfect, but most of it was way more functional than it is now. And who had the dysfunctional households were whether big or small, were actually the non-black households because they were so dysfunctional. That they, if you have everything, you still need to go out and lynch people. You know, you sending people's dead bodies as postcards across the country. Y'all see, that's your Sunday picnic after church is killing somebody. Obviously, they were dysfunctional. Now we are the people using our cell phones, to videotape our own destruction. Now we're turned into their old culture. Thus, our love is dysfunctional as theirs was back then. And I think we need to take stuff like that into consideration because uh, when and it seems like women are more moved by media promotion and propaganda, which I don't understand, but that's not for me to understand. I just don't get it. A lot of the things that women gravitate to now are negative, is negative imagery. So that negative imagery is is partially to blame because to think negativity is attractive and then and approach love in that same negative manner and expect results is not practical. It just doesn't make sense. It's the same thing as if women see us as the scourge of the earth, but we are looking for a biblical virtuous woman, and it's like those things don't go together. You know it, I know it, and if we promoted ourselves as just the worst human beings on the planet and say, look, she has to be all of these things, you know, and like I said before, that's black love and whiteface because you know white men were slavery, Jim Crow, lynchings, black code, segregation to this racism, now police brutality, and their women love them for that because it makes money. And in some ways, sisters want the comforts and the luxuries and the lifestyles and the amenities of the American life. So that's why we look at the drug dealer culture like, okay, when the worst of us make money, that's the people that you're attracted to, because you're attracted to the lifestyle and of the dysfunction and the destruction. And that's not what black love was ever built on. Black love was built on unity and family and of, how can I say this, of ethical and moral means. Not uh, an unethical, immoral foundation that can create love because it doesn't work. I'm out.